In tonight's headlines, North Korea fires shells towards two South Korean islands, raising tensions between the neighbors. The airport authority is to issue retail bonds in a bid to raise $5 billion. And two major intersections in Shatin and Chimsha-cheol are to try out diagonal crossings.
Tensions on the Korean peninsula have escalated after Pyongyang fired more than 200 artillery shells towards two South Korean islands, forcing residents to evacuate. The shelling targeted Yeonpyeong and Baekgyeon Islands in the Yellow Sea, 80 kilometers west of the South Korean city of Incheon. South Korean Navy vessels headed to the area as islanders were ordered to evacuate. Pyongyang's latest show of force followed warnings that it is ready for war against South Korea and its ally the United States, following their joint military exercises. Pyongyang accused Seoul and Washington of using the drills to prepare for an invasion. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has threatened a nuclear attack on the south and warned that war could break out at any time. China has expressed concern, saying confrontation has intensified on the Korean peninsula. Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin urged all parties to remain calm and exercise restraint. Sachin Katwi, Cable News.
An elderly woman in western Japan has been rescued from under the rubble of her building, which collapsed during a powerful earthquake on New Year's Day. Workers say it was a miracle that the woman, in her 80s, had managed to survive. She lives in Ishikawa Prefecture, one of the areas hardest hit by the 7.6 magnitude earthquake. Hopes of finding 240 people still missing are fading following the expiry of the 72-hour survival window. The death toll has risen to 92, with hundreds more injured. The United States is sending relief supplies to Japan, which has for now rejected offers of aid from other countries, including China.
The airport authority aims to raise $5 billion from the sale of retail bonds to fund the third runway and other operations. The bonds will have a tenor of 30 months and will pay interest every quarter, with the yearly rate fixed at 4.25%. A single unit costs $10,000. Hong Kong residents can buy the bonds through banks or security brokers starting on January 17th. Subscriptions close 8 days later. The bonds will be issued on February 5th and will be listed on the stock market the next day.
Crossing roads diagonally will soon be legal. After accessing the traffic and pedestrian flow of busy intersections, the Transport Department will try out so-called pedestrian scrambles. Two crossings have been chosen as trial spots, one at Shakok Street and Yatai Street near Shatin Y Station, and the other at Granville Road and Carnarvon Road in Chimsha-cheol. Diagonal crossing facilities have been installed in Shatin, but it's unknown when the scheme will start. Shatin District Councillor Guo Xuantong said the diagonal crossway will benefit residents, most of whom are in favor of the system. Crossing roads diagonally is illegal currently, and lawmakers have pushed that it be legalized. Legislators, including Christine Fong and Edward Lau, have proposed that diagonal crossways be built in several areas, including the busy intersection at Tongcheng Street and Po Yat Road in Cheng Kwan-o. Diagonal crossways may gradually be introduced in all 18 districts. Janice Yu, Cable News. More than half of Hong Kong's senior citizens and children have still not had a flu shot. But compared with last year, the vaccination rate is 21% higher, with a record of 1.7 million doses administered. Health officials stress that those who have yet to get a jab should do so as soon as possible, because the peak winter flu season is expected to hit the city next week. Parents have been told not to worry about side effects for their children, as the vaccines have been used globally for a long time. COVID cases in Hong Kong have also been increasing, and people are urged to be vigilant.
The mourning continues in Gaza as more Palestinians are killed in Israel's relentless ground and air assaults. Refugee camps have been targeted in an apparent bid to push Palestinians to the southernmost part of Gaza. Almost 22,500 Palestinians have been killed since Israel launched the offensive following a Hamas attack 3 months ago. Survivors of the bombings combed through the rubble of buildings to salvage whatever they can find. But health has become a major concern. Doctors are worried that Palestinians, already short of food, are at risk of hypothermia as their flimsy tents offer little protection from the winter cold, wind, and rain. Israel says its military action in Gaza may take months as it tries to crush Hamas to stop it from ruling the enclave again.
At least 3 people were killed and 28 injured when 2 trains collided on the main Indonesian island of Java. The accident happened during the morning rush hour near the city of Bandung. Many carriages tumbled into a rice field with the impact of the crash between a commuter train and an express train. The trains were carrying 500 people, most of whom were on their way to work. An investigation into the cause of the crash is underway.
Two New York subway trains derailed after a collision which disrupted afternoon rush hour services in the U.S. city. At least 24 people suffered minor injuries. One train was carrying about 300 passengers, while the other was out of service after being vandalized. Evacuated passengers were relieved but terrified.
It was very nerve-wracking. I was so nervous. I tried to use my phone to call someone. I had no service on there. And I tried to remain calm as best I can, but now I just...
You seem very frazzled at the moment.
I feel very lightheaded. I'm just in shock right now. I'm in a lot of shock.
50 mainlanders arrived in Hong Kong on Wednesday to help the city overcome a shortage of minibus drivers. 6 of them took a test on a route in Taiwan, but only 2 passed. The head of the Green Minibus Association's So Sai-hong suggested that mainland drivers who fail to pass the road test after 2 attempts should be disqualified. Currently, they are allowed 4 chances. Under the labor importation scheme, 460 drivers from Guangdong will be allowed to work in Hong Kong. Another 400 mainland drivers are due to arrive in March at the earliest and will undergo training for at least a month before they can carry passengers. So said the pass rate for mainland drivers is slightly lower than for their local counterparts, probably because they drive on the right side of the road. He said it costs almost $2,000 to do the test again. This adds to the cost of their employers, who also have to provide accommodation for them. 10 other mainland drivers are being trained and are expected to start work after 1 more week. So says hiring foreign labor is a short-term solution, and he hopes the sector can attract more local drivers. Janice Yu, Cable News. Ocean Park's oldest dolphin has died at the age of 40. Molly was an Indo-Pacific bottlenose dolphin and had been a major attraction at the theme park. During its lifetime, Molly played a big role in fostering awareness about the importance of marine conservation. The mammal fell ill on New Year's Eve and died yesterday despite round-the-clock intensive treatment. A necropsy will be carried out to determine the exact cause of death.
The Hong Kong stock market ended the first trading week of the new year in the red zone. Despite the first initial public offering of the year, the Hang Seng Index has yet to venture into positive territory this year and slid 0.7% today. RoboSense technology, which makes sensors for self-driving cars, was flat on its debut. Other tech stocks also retreated, with Tencent losing 2.2%. Alibaba plunged 3.2% after the e-commerce giant further reduced its stake in logistics services provider GoGoX Holdings. Weaker than expected sales and a drop in production led to brokers lowering their revenue forecast for China Resources Beer, which dived 4.5%.